has been issued against access of media to the prisons. Very unfair. Kenyans need to know what is happening, especially as the legislators transact business, Mr. Speaker. So I hope through your office you can consult and ensure that case by case, while I do not agree that media were able to expose members of parliament and report live that they were being evacuated through the tunnel or being taken away by the ambulances or they were changing clothes, Mr. Speaker. I met one member of National Assembly, decided to remove the entire suit and wear a vest and a boxer to escape the rat, Mr. Speaker, through Landimawe, Mr. Speaker, in this city. While those are tactics that people evaded what was happening in that day, Mr. Speaker, it is not a justification to deny media access and access to media to the prisons of parliament. And therefore, I want to ask your office and Parliamentary Service Commission to resist the temptation to give out unconstitutional orders of denying access of media, because Kenyans need to know what we are doing. Mr. Speaker, I have used an example of 1932, when there were allegations that there was a letter that was being sent to the House of Congress and Senate that had poison. The Congress decided to close the House and run away. In the subsequent elections, the entire congressmen were voted out, but the Senate of the Republic of United States of America remained true to its cause and addressed the remember. And that is why we have distinguished ourselves, Mr. Speaker, as the upper house. Mr. Speaker, there are many issues that young people have raised. Issue of corruption, issue of governance, both at national and county governments, Mr. Speaker. Issue of lack of opportunities. Issue of nepotism, Mr. Speaker. Issue of not being listened to, Mr. Speaker. There are many challenges, and I want to assure the Gen Z and any other Kenyan, Mr. Speaker, Parliament is a public place. If there were proper organization, they would have accessed Parliament. Many Kenyans access Parliament. I want to put this straight, Mr. Speaker. Under Article 126(1) of the Constitution of Kenya, Mr. Speaker, Parliament can sit anywhere. And I want to call upon the Gen Z and any other Kenyan can sit in Uhuru Park. Parliament can sit in Migori. That is why we have Senate Mashinani, Mr. Speaker. The Constitution gives us as a parliament to sit even in Garissa, in Mandera, even in your county, Mr. Speaker, and listen to the Kenyans. And I'm happy as we talk this, Mr. Speaker, on the Senate Mashinani, we are doing it in Busia. We have done it in Makueni. We did it in Turkana. We have done it in Uasin-Gishu, Mr. Speaker. Kenyans should know that Parliament is ready to listen to them. Under Article 126 of the Constitution, Parliament can sit anywhere within the border. Even if they want us to sit in KICC, we can sit there, Mr. Speaker, and listen to Kenyans, and especially the Gen Z, Mr. Speaker. Number 3, Mr. Speaker, from the onset, I want to send my deepest condolences, Mr. Speaker, from my family, from myself and the great people of Nandi County, to many Kenyans who have lost their lives, unfortunately, and wish quick recovery to many Kenyans who, as both, Mr. Speaker, have endured injuries during this, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, even when we exercise Article 37, Mr. Speaker, the law is that it must be peaceful and unarmed. On the first few days when the young people came out, Mr. Speaker, the protests were largely peaceful. It was later, Mr. Speaker, infiltrated by the criminals, Mr. Speaker. We've seen incidences where the security officers have been injured. You remember the inspector of the police that lost both hands, Mr. Speaker? We have a number of police officers who they have injured and some have lost their lives, as well as the protesters, Mr. Speaker. I want to ask, even as you protest under Article 37, Mr. Speaker, which is your right, peacefully and unarmed, let us resist the temptation of allowing goons and criminals to infiltrate, Mr. Speaker. And I want to challenge the DCI and other security agencies, Mr. Speaker. Should anybody who is a criminal or goon who is looting public property, Mr. Speaker, because I know, Mr. Speaker, the business community was stating that, and I hope the Ministry of Interior will sit and evaluate at the end of all these chaos, Mr. Speaker, because I saw they were putting value of looted property to be around 3 billion Kenyan shillings, Mr. Speaker. Therefore, I want to challenge, Mr. Speaker, that even as young people and any they should do so in a peaceful manner, and the police should provide, Mr. Speaker, the necessary security. Mr. Speaker, I want to borrow the many other issues that my colleagues and associates strongly with. Ordinarily, it should not be the president responding to all these other issues, especially on regular security briefs, Mr. Speaker. I would have expected even the police spokesperson. We used to have somebody called Owino as the police spokesperson. Mr. Speaker, Brian Shusho. Now we have the Inspector General of Police. In fact, the only time Inspector General of Police has responded is when he saw allocations of fatalities in Haiti. He sent a statement, Mr. Speaker. Even not legally, even morally, Mr. Speaker, the Inspector General of Police should have even appeared on a regular basis to update the country on security situation, Mr. Speaker, and tell the country how many people, unfortunately, have died, how many have injured, how many properties have been looted, or what is the state of the security, Mr. Speaker. What is the state of the homeland security, Mr. Speaker? I think that is the least we expected from Inspector General of Police, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, I think his stay in office is no longer tenable, Mr. Speaker. We must do a proper reshuffle within the security apparatus of this country, especially the homeland security, Mr. Speaker, so that we have a police service, not a police force, as was envisaged by the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya, Mr. Speaker. So I agree with my colleagues that the Inspector General of Police must be called out for failing to provide leadership, Mr. Speaker, for failing to morally and legally even update the country on security situation, Mr. Speaker. We are being told there was demos, Mr. Speaker, yesterday. There are others being planned on the way. The least we expect, cases of where police have shot, Mr. Speaker, incidences. It should be briefing the country at what circumstances that the police shoot some of the protesters, and are they working together with independent policing oversight authority? I pour, Mr. Speaker. Number 3, Mr. Speaker, is on corruption. My colleagues has put it, we know, Mr. Speaker, when I raised an issue of opulence of some of the cabinet ministers, I was blasted, I was accused of being jealous, I was accused of not knowing how to do deals. Mr. Speaker, I was accused of coming to take tea and mandazi in parliament instead of going to Tanzania and other countries to broker deals, Mr. Speaker, which is very unfortunate. And I was just calling out, don't eat too much and vomit before the feet of Kenyans. As a former ambassador would say, Mr. Speaker. Even in my culture, where I come from, you don't eat and open your shirt. It is a culture, Mr. Speaker. And I called out, and you remember, I was being blasted left, right, and center, Mr. Speaker, and I warned them that if this trend of displaying opulence by members of parliament and some cabinet ministers without humility, and I'm happy, Mr. Speaker, for the last 2 weekends, at least the quality of hair has improved. Because when choppers were crisscrossing, it was also affecting our agenda of climate change, Mr. Speaker, where people would fly in, land, reorganize the program of a funeral or a church service, speak, insult other elected leaders, Mr. Speaker, call them dimwits, call them fools, the way I was being called in Nandi last year, give out the money that God knows where they got it from, millions of shillings, and they fly away from the chopper, disrupting, Mr. Speaker, a social function for the next 1 hour or 30 minutes, Mr. Speaker, until they settle, Mr. Speaker. So the issue of corruption, and I think, Mr. Speaker, as a proposal to the President and EACC, Mr. Speaker, we must start doing lifestyle audits to all of us, state officers and all governors. Any person who is serving in a public office, we must do lifestyle audit. We must know, so that the reason Kenyans were on the streets, the reason Gen Z were calling us out, is because they are wondering, how can you contribute 20 million shillings in an Arambe, and yet they don't have even 100 shillings. They were wondering, the minister would be in Arambe counting millions of shillings, and the roads are not there, Mr. Speaker. And the water is not there, Mr. Speaker. So they are wondering, we are telling them the economy is bad, but we preside an Arambe worth millions of shillings, Mr. Speaker. It is not bad to do an Arambe. It is not bad to help people, But we must do their and I'm telling you, I know some people, even who had bought shirts for funerals, dark suits, because their only thing was just when they hear social function, Senator Sifuna, they appear. But they have never visited the bad roads that are in our counties or look even at the water, Mr. Speaker. But they will find time to go and insult other leaders, Mr. Speaker. I think corruption also is not doing your job. Mr. Speaker, it doesn't necessarily that you have stolen, failing to do your job with integrity, reporting to your duty station. And therefore, number 3, I propose that EACC must be disbanded forthwith with capital letters. They have failed from national to counties, Mr. Speaker. In fact, when you steal, they come and see you my tent, they slap you on the wrist, and they go away. If today EACC was serious, 3/4 of governors would be in jail by now. I can tell you for free. Because even some of the people serving at the state officers, Mr. Speaker, they should be in jail. But EACC have failed us. While I agree they don't have enough resources, it is time we disband the EACC and restructure EACC and redevelop EACC to win back the public confidence, Mr. Speaker, of this republic going into the future. If you ask EACC and friends and colleagues, I have been privileged to serve as JLAC chair. And I remember we did invite EACC in the last session. The only conviction EACC had done is a bribery of 20,000 shillings. What are we telling Kenyans? What are we telling Gen Z when they can see this club that you have built somewhere in a town, they can see these are proceeds of crime. And that the EACC will turn a blind eye, Mr. Speaker. We must resist, and I want to request, even as EACC struggle with the challenges of resources, we must disband, restructure to win the public confidence of this republic, Mr. Speaker. Number 4, Mr. Speaker, before I finish with austerities, this issue of SRC increasing the salaries of members of parliament and state officers is in bad faith. It wants to increase the public discontent, Mr. Speaker, and SRC must be called out, Mr. Speaker. You remember when UHC colleagues, interns, we invited SRC here. They told us there is no money to increase for UHC doctors or JSS, but they are quick to increase money for us members of parliament to create discontent and fuel the country into discontentment of members of parliament, Mr. Speaker. SRC we never requested for the increment of salaries. We have never. SRC is abusing its own power by trying to set us against the public. And I'm happy a number of colleagues have responded to this blackmail, misleading corruption by SRC, Mr. Speaker. And I also propose SRC must be disbanded, Mr. Speaker, and serve. Let the SRC commissioners not serve monthly. They should serve as. Because the problem we have with SRC, they are not serving part-time. They are busy trying to set and regulate salaries so that they justify their work in office. While SRC chair is giving herself a 10 million car grant for a Prado from Toyota Kenya. She is increasing her salary. She gets 2 car grants within 4 years, Mr. Speaker. The SRC, and I want to say and tell Kenyans, I am not interested. In fact, what I am proposing going into the future, members of parliament, we should serve in part-time, just like other countries, Mr. Speaker. Then we agree how it works out. If that is the solution that will bring back the confidence of this Republic of Kenyans, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on judiciary, I served and I have the privilege of information. Mr. Speaker, Kenyans file more than 500,000 cases per year. I saw the chief effectively saying they can open up to midnight to handle these issues that we are experiencing. But she has never done anything about clearing backlog, Mr. Speaker. The bitterness Kenyans have is that they have a court case. They have not gotten a court order. For those people who do not have means, they are suffering, Mr. Speaker. But the Chief Justice, to appear right and to appear popular, not to appear right, to appear popular but not right, is just giving a public relation exercise to the gallery by saying now, since everybody is no longer safe from Gen Z, and you know he was visited the other day in his office. She thinks by saying, let us handle all the protesters being brought to court, Mr. Speaker, who are not Orguns, is fair. The real problem with judiciary is he should give us the matrix, the timeline of clearing cases, Mr. Speaker. And how can you justify from 1982, there is a court case up to today, a succession case, Mr. Speaker? Mr. Speaker, it's corruption. Kenyans are very, Mr. Speaker, are mad with all the institutions. And I want to tell everybody who is serving as a state officer, no one is no longer safe. Senator Majority Leader Aaron Cheruiyot will tell you, Wamboka Wanami and Samuel Atande, when they wanted to cross for safety, they could not. Because the people say, ndio wale. And I'm telling you, some things happen that I'm not comfortable to share because this is parliamentary guided program. It is a PG rated, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, finally, on austerity measures, I will tell, I can see Senator Faki is interested, I will tell him in camera. Mr. Speaker, I plead with the President and all of us, just in 2 minutes, Mr. Speaker, please let us not cut amount that we are going to JSS for 6,000 teachers. Most of these 46,000 are young people. If we can confirm them to permanent and pensionable, Mr. Speaker, we shall also be fair to young people on these 46,000 junior secondary schools. Mr. Speaker, number 2, let us not reduce the allocation to counties. Because it was not pro rata, as Majority Leader said, it was based on equity. Just a minute, Mr. Speaker. And also, finally, Mr. Speaker, let us not cut money that was going to confirm the UHC intern doctors, among others, within the medical sector, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, with those very many remarks, I support this motion. Let us bring back this nation to where it should be. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Sifuna.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Chair. First, let me start by saying that I want to laud the leadership of the majority and the minority sides that have brought this motion this morning. And to just say to the Honorable Senator Aaron Cheruiyot that you will struggle, my brother, to make a better speech than what you've made this morning. And I am sure it has given a lot of hope to a lot of people in this country that, in fact, this institution of the Senate can rise to the occasion when other people are failing. They say that with great power comes great responsibility. And I don't think that in this House there was somebody with a greater responsibility, leader, to set the tone for the discussion that we want to have this particular morning. I think I hear what Kenyans are saying. They want to see from the leadership of this country contrition. They want to see remorse. They want to see us taking responsibility for everything that has happened, that has led us to this particular moment. And allow me to follow in your footsteps and also tender an unreserved apology to the people of Kenya if I have contributed in any way by my conduct, by my speech, to bringing the country to where it is today. I apologize for that. Honorable Speaker, as a senator of Nairobi, you know that Nairobi has borne the brunt of the protest, of the killings, of the loss of lives, of the loss of property. As we speak right now, we have 39, as of the last count, people who have lost lives across the country. And more than half of that, at least 19, have been killed in the city of Nairobi. Honorable Speaker, out of those 19 that have died in the city of Nairobi, between 6 and 8 of them, the numbers are yet to be confirmed, were actually very parliament. And as we join our country and our colleagues in mourning, I also want to take this opportunity to send my heartfelt condolences to all the families that have lost their loved ones in this particular protest. Of course, Honorable Speaker, because we have been the epicenter of these riots and protests, we have a lot of damage that has been done to public and private infrastructure. We have lost a lot of property. In fact, the value is unknown. We will need time to actually do an audit of all the property that has been destroyed. Businesses in Nairobi CBD have been shut. There have been all sorts of claims, Honorable Speaker. There's people who have come to me and even talked about ethnic profile businesses, that it's certain communities that are being attacked and others are not being attacked. We are in a a place where we have never been in terms of the crisis that is facing us. And all I hear the young people of this country saying is that we as a leadership now need to stop talking. We now need to stop talking and want to listen to these young people. Honorable Speaker, I have been turning down invitations to media houses because I'm asking these media houses, why don't you invite these Gen Zs themselves to tell you what it is they want, to paint a picture of the kind of country that they want? Would you believe it, Honorable Speaker? The many Gen Zs who are being invited to these TV shows are afraid that they will not leave that TV station and get home because they are afraid of being arrested or detained outside those TV stations. And the conversation here, Honorable Senator Cheruyot, is that we now need to do certain things to facilitate a conversation to happen, starting with what we are doing here. We need to show remorse as leaders. We need to stop threats to people who are... I am in a WhatsApp group, somebody is sharing what is it called, a charge sheet of someone who's being arraigned in court because they said RUTO must go. I mean, Honorable Chair, we must get to a place where if we are going to have a national conversation, let us allow people to express themselves, and that is the only way we will hear what they have to say. We need to put aside our egos. I know some of the things that we are being told and the things that are being directed at us is very humiliating. As leaders, we are not accustomed to this. But, Honorable Speaker, it is a time to set egos aside and just listen. There is something very profound that the majority leader told me yesterday. He said, Sifuna, right now, there are no more political goals to be scored. There isn't even a political game now going on because all of us in the political class are actually indicted by the people of this republic that we have failed in terms of what we need to do to get this country where it's supposed to be. I have shared an example here that on the day of the 25th of June, RUTO was being stoned in the city of Nairobi. And by the way, although it is a car that is popular with members of parliament, very many Kenyans actually drive this car. It is one of the most ubiquitous cars in the streets of Nairobi. So imagine you being a doctor or a lawyer, you have nothing to do with parliament, driving around the city and people attack you because of the car that you're driving. It is a problem that we have to solve. By our own conduct, we have put all of us in the line of fire. An MCA leaving the County Assembly of Nairobi, one of the nominated MCAs, was attacked, Honorable Speaker. And yes, she was, her car was badly damaged. She was badly hurt, including her driver. She had to get surgery. By the time people are saying, oh, stop, this is not a member of parliament, or this is a member of the National Assembly, you are already dead. That is what we are saying. We need to come and rise above all these differences that we've always had to have a conversation about our country. Kenya has changed forever. We must not allow us to go back to the bad manners. I was seeing clips of young people on TikTok saying they are very happy there are no more strobe lights, there are no more sirens, people are not overlapping. They are asking where have all these big vehicles gone in the streets of Nairobi. Honorable Speaker, I saw a newspaper article in the Standard today saying that MPs are in hiding, members of the National Assembly are in hiding. And the question is, where are these members? I'm very proud to be a senator today, that we are not hiding from the people. We are here to actually take responsibility for all our actions and to try and assuage or deal with the problems that we have contributed in bringing about. So, Honorable Speaker, there are things, in my view, that we can do. And this moment does not call for us to tell the young people what to do. We need to demonstrate that we are hearing what they are saying and look at ourselves in the mirror, Honorable Speaker. It has to be about us. We start with the House of Senate and the House of Parliament generally, so that we are able to demonstrate that we understand what these young people are saying. So in my presentation, Honorable Speaker, I will be proposing that we don't tell anybody else other than ourselves what we are going to do going forward to try and help this country to move from the quagmire that it finds itself in. And there are very low-hanging fruits. My friends here have spoken, for instance, about the supposed salary increments. By the way, in defense of the SRC, I know many of you have bashed them here. That Gazette notice that is in the public domain and discussion right now was published on the 9th of August 2023, the day we went for elections. I am telling you. Because it is supposed to be 2022, 9th of August 2022. Because it's supposed to be that members of parliament, when you go for elections, people should know how much money you're going to make in advance. And the role of setting salaries was removed from us. The public still thinks that Sifuna has the power to increase his own salary. I do not have that power. That power is in a constitutional commission called the SRC. Honorable Speaker, what we need to do, and I'm very happy my colleagues who have gone before me have said it, in all honesty, nobody asked for that increment. Nobody that I know. Personally, I never asked for that increment of 14,000 shillings. Tone deaf if we are going to insist that we get that increment this particular year or next year, when the economy is in the doldrums, when many Kenyans have nothing to put on the table. So I also support the proposal by members who have spoken before me that we formally resolve that we as a Senate are not interested in any additional salaries this particular financial year. Number two, Honorable Speaker, we need to relook at our budgets in this House, and see where we can make major concessions and cuts for members of the public to feel that we are actually lessening the burden and not increasing the burden. And I want to give a personal example, and you'll forgive me if I'm giving out house secrets. Honorable Chair, when I became the Deputy Minority Whip, I was allocated a vehicle, a GK vehicle. On the first day that I used that car to go home, I passed through the expressway. I was shocked, Honorable Speaker, at the amount of money that is on my ETC card for my parliamentary car. As of this morning, when I used that same car to come here, there is 377,000 Kenyan shillings on my ETC. There is 377,000 Kenyan ETC of the vehicle that have been given by Parliament. It does not make sense. It does not make sense, Honorable Speaker. So what you do, members of Parliament, the staff of Parliament have to be honest with Kenyans. In the way the budgets of Parliament are prepared, there are ways and means of reducing the expenditure in this House in a manner that will reduce the burden on taxpayers. I honestly do not need all that money. Even if I ran up and down the expressway for a year, I would never exhaust 370,000 Kenyan shillings. So, Honorable Speaker, we must do this so that we demonstrate to the people that we are serious about what we are talking about. Number three, Honorable Speaker, I want to speak about something in the motion. The Majority Leader proposed that National Assembly should reconvene so that they deal with the question of the presidential memorandum on the finance bill. Mr. Speaker, just as a constitutional lawyer, we in the opposition or in the minority have a different take on how this finance bill should be dealt with. Honorable Speaker, if you look at Article 115 on what should happen to a bill when it is sent back to Parliament, 115 sub-article 3, it says, if Parliament amends the bill fully accommodating the President's reservations, the appropriate Speaker shall resubmit it to the President for assent. What that means, Honourable Leader, is that he sends something back after that process of consideration of his memorandum. I do not think the Constitution envisaged a situation where you are sending a blank document from Parliament to the President for assent. Because what the presidential memorandum is proposing is a deletion of all the clauses contained in the finance bill. So you will have an empty piece of paper. It will have nothing on it. Then you are sending it back to the President for assent. What is he assenting to? So the proposal that has come from Honorable Tiende Amolo, for us, makes a bit more sense. That you allow there to be a bill that is introduced to repeal the finance bill as was passed. Because in the language of Article 115, we do not think that it can be done the way that it is being proposed. So, Honorable Speaker, another thing that we can do, let there be a public pronouncement from the head of state that we are going to stop these arrests, these abductions that have been ongoing, free everyone who's been arrested because of this protest, as the Majority Leader said, honor our dead and the people who are still in hospitals. There is opulence and corruption and the corrupting influence of money in politics. Honorable Majority Leader, when you spoke about that, I was very happy because we have to have a conversation. I was at a conference at one place and somebody was saying how it has become expensive to join politics. And I said it is actually used as a scare tactic to scare away people from political participation. If a young man hears that for you to become the senator of Nairobi, you need 70 million shillings or 100 million shillings, where do you think that person will never participate in elections? Where are we supposed to get this money? We want the young people to understand that they have demonstrated to this country that you in fact do not need the sort of resources that we are told you need for you to become a political player. Honorable Speaker, there's this question of a ban on harambes. As a lawyer, I am aware there is already legislation that tries to limit participation of political players in harambes, but is limited to the last few months. I think it's, is it 6 months or 9 months to the election? What we should be doing, we should be saying, because now it has become culture that immediately after elections anyway, after you are sworn in, your opponent is already on the ground saying Sifuna must go. So why don't we just extend the period and say throughout the term of parliament, members of parliament should not be allowed to participate in these harambes and demonstrate the sort of opulence that we have seen. The majority leader and Honorable Halwale has spoken about a rigged economy, and that is something that has touched my heart. Those of us who are born where we were born, Honorable Speaker, many of our young people, including myself, have always wondered how is it possible that people who we know had lesser grades, had far inferior grades in school. We were better than them at everything. They are making progress at a faster rate just because of their second name. We are just there languishing. People have 6 degrees, have never gotten an opportunity. People go for interview after interview. The moment somebody sees your name is Watenya or Sifuna, your CV is put aside. Wanasema letter ya huyu. It is very embarrassing, Honorable Majority Leader, that sometimes an entire institution from top to bottom has members of only one office. I think these are the things that are going to make our people extremely mad every time these matters are brought about. So if you don't address these matters, Honorable Speaker, we are not going to be able to deal with the problem. We have seen young people, especially when it comes to employment in public service. Honorable Speaker, you qualify as a teacher. You are waiting all your life to be employed as a teacher. Then you see leaders in public rallies, in funerals, handing and dishing out employment letters from TSC. And when you go to TSC, they tell you, oh, there is a system, everybody is logged in and see which criteria is used and they eventually reach you. But you can see people dishing out letters from TSC, from KWS, from NYS, in harambes and in funerals, Honorable Speaker. I think, and even police, these are the things that we need to work on as a leadership so that we stop all this anger that you see. Let me go to another thing, Honorable Speaker. An angry people cannot be reasoned with. Right now, people are very angry. And this is why I'm trying to, explain to this House that we are not going to be prescriptive in how we deal with this issue. Honorable Speaker, that we can demonstrate to the country that at least there is a place where a conversation can be had. Senate is the only House of Parliament that goes to the people. We don't fear the people. That's why we are still here. So if it is possible for us, even if it is going to Uhuru Park as somebody has suggested, we are ready to be insulted because at some point we deserve to be insulted. But at the very end of that, of those insults, I think we will be able to pick some few things. Honorable Majority Leader was telling us a story of how he logged into one of the Twitter spaces and he said there was maybe 60% expletives and insults, but 40% was good material, and it has inspired even the speech that he made this morning. So let us put ourselves at the disposal of the people. We should be available to the people so that we deal with this. On debt, I agree with you, Honorable Majority Leader, that there has to be a public audit of all Kenya's debt so that we know what the truth about this is. On budget, we have explained, and I've given an example here of how we feel that sometimes our budgeting process is padded in such a way that it allows for budgeted corruption. We have estimated, Honorable Speaker, at least those of us on the minority side, that we can do away with at least 1 trillion shillings in this budget. And we don't need to punish anyone. We just need to cut on expenditure in our own institutions. I will go to some of the proposals that I have received from members of the public. Number one, Honorable Speaker, there needs to be an audit of all appointments from September 13th, 2023. Because as Honorable Senator Halwale spoke and said, there are some offices that have been created that we do not even understand the basis of their existence. Look at the number of advisors in government. There needs to be a public audit of all these advisors. And tell Kenyans why it is okay for one office of the advisor on the economic matters, Honorable Halwale, to have more money for travel than 9 committees of this House combined. It doesn't make any sense. So the specter of personal assistance in government, we need a public audit of that. There was another office that was created, and this one you'll forgive me, Majority Leader, of faith intercessors. We need a public audit of who are these people and why are they earning public money. Honorable Speaker, I had occasion to see one business card of one of those faith intercessors. It was the most powerful business card I have ever seen in my life. Honorable Speaker, you have spoken about the office of the First Lady, and I am happy that the President himself took a first initial step to say that office will cease existing from, I think he said, Monday of this week. It had 285 employees. I am telling you. The Deputy President, the wife of the Deputy President's office, 100 employees. Honorable Speaker, we cannot continue like this. Then there is a specter of retreats. And this one, we are all guilty as members of this House. We need to look at our retreats, whether the retreats we are taking are necessary, whether these meetings cannot be had here, whether those resolutions cannot be. And then in the independent commissions, in the ministries and the corporations, I was just being told that there actually also exist fake retreats. There's something called a fake retreat, where there was no retreat, but people are being paid for going on a retreat. Then on the foreign trips, Honorable Speaker, these are things we all understand. Let us be able to demonstrate to the public that we're actually serious and we hear them. Just one more minute.
Let's add him 1 more minute to conclude.
And then on the ODPP, I was just conferring here with my friend, the senator for Migori. We were shocked when we heard that a plea bargain had been entered in the Migori corruption case, that a governor who's have been accused of stealing billions of shillings has agreed to return 300 million, and then the case is withdrawn. I want to call for an audit of all the in the past 12 or 24 months, Honorable Speaker, so that we understand the legal basis for the withdrawal of these cases, because this is where we are failing. For as long as you can demonstrate, Honorable Speaker, that these cases are going nowhere, that is where people get the confidence that the Majority Leader was speaking about to engage in some of these things. Lastly, we need respect for the Constitution and constitutional institutions and the bodies across the public service and across the national executive infrastructure. So, for instance, Honorable Speaker, I was being given an example that even the mess we have in the management of public service, that an executive order is made on HR matters to a body called State Corporations Advisory Committee, which is duplication of roles. So, Honorable Speaker, I support this motion, and let us put up that humane face that Kenyans are looking to see, that we can actually engage on these matters. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Mohamed Chute.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. My son, Honorable Speaker, who is in St. Vincent Medical College, called me yesterday and asked me, Baba, why are these people calling you MPigs? He asked me, Gen Zs, why are they calling parliamentarians MPigs? And I told him, I don't know, but there is something that is wrong with us. Honorable Speaker, let me, in support of this motion, let me say a few things.
Senator Osotsi, what's your point of order?
Mr. Speaker, I think we are having a very important reflection in this House. We are talking to matters of discrimination. We are talking to matter of unethical. But we are seeing the same being practiced even before our own eyes. Mr. Speaker, I came here as the first person to log in. And I'm seeing that the members are being called to contribute as we sit here and wait. Is this fair? When we are talking about fairness, we should exercise that fairness, even in this motion, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let us follow the list that is there on the screen so that we exercise fairness. I understand leadership can be given priority. But what about people who are not in leadership and there is priority list there? Let us follow the list, Mr. Speaker, so that we demonstrate to Kenyans that indeed we are talking about fairness.
Just a moment, Senator Chute. Senator Osotsi, am I to understand that by calling Senator Mohammed Chute, the chair is not following the order of debate? Because the speaker just before Senator Chute was Senator Sifuna, and he's in the leadership. And every institution, the reason why Senator Cherargei was given an opportunity was because he was next in the list, and Senator Lelengwe, who is in leadership, was not on the list. And the order of this House is that if one speaker on this side speaks, I have to give an opportunity to speakers on the other side. Senator Osotsi. And I've actually had, you know very well that your colleague, Senator Beatrice Ogola, who is the next speaker, made a special request because she is traveling. The chair has to listen to such pleas from members from time to time so that we can accommodate for them. So there is no way, Senator Osotsi, you can stand on the floor of this House and accuse the chair of being unfair. Senator Osotsi, we agreed you're going to speak after Beatrice on that side.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I hope my friend Osotsi is not complaining about me because I was definitely ahead of him. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I was talking about Gen Zs. And let me take this opportunity to thank our majority leader and the minority leader. You've done something extremely, what I've never thought of, that you fought, you talked, and you represented this country, not your parties, not an individual interest. Thank you very much, and may God bless you. Having said that, Honorable Speaker, we have a problem. And the problem facing this country is huge. And Gen Zs are asking for a solution. They are not asking for discussion. What is the solution? Honorable Speaker, first of all, what is important is this. When the President discussed this issue of the finance bill, I know his intentions were very good, but the problem was communication. It was not communicated well, and that is why we are facing the problem we are facing today. Honorable Speaker, our problem is not the issue of finance bill only. This country is rotten to the core. What is our problem? Problem is excesses, number one. You will find a minister or an MP who is well connected, goes to Harambee and contributes 20 million shillings. And he starts with 5 million. One club, 5 million. Second club, 6 million. 7, 8 million. 9, 10 million. And then 20 million. Honorable Speaker, if somebody from Marsabit calls me and says, hawa watu wametoa hiyo pesa wapi, mzee? I told him, I don't know. Wametoa wapi? I don't know. I saw a minister, CS, wearing a watch, inaitwa Hublot. I don't know if it's Hublo or Hublot. That one, I need to be corrected. Costing 3.2 million shillings. If you look at his belt, 500,000 shillings. His shoes, 680,000 shillings. The suit, almost 1.2 million. 6 million shillings. And then, if someone asks him, what, he says, I'll go to where your continue us. Gen Zs have brought these issues, and we are going to face it head on. Honorable, if we want to stop corruption and excesses, we must start from the counties. If you look at, I'm in the devolution committee, my chair is here, Chair Abbas, and some development project counties are up to the tune of 6% only. Out of 8 to 9 billion, 10 billion shillings, 6% of 10 billion is maybe 6 million only, if I'm not wrong. So, if we ask this Senate today to stop sending development funds to some counties, will I be wrong? No, because there is no development. There is none. Even, let us look at Kisii. It's a 6%. Nairobi, 6%. So, Honorable Speaker, let me thank the Gen Zs, other people or persons or groups who can join JCs to support this country or to help us solve this problem. I would really appreciate. Honorable Speaker, there is a democratic space that we are lacking in this country. And the laws of this country are very clear. Give people space to talk, to picket, to demonstrate, and to even give statements of what they need for themselves. This is a democratic country. Police brutality should stop. Reverend Njoya was beaten in front of this parliament, I don't know like what, in 1996, I think. And in 2024, the same thing is happening. When is this going to stop? The IG should resign. That is point number one. On corruption, EACC, Honorable Speaker, if you report something today to EACC, after 1 hour, somebody will call you from Marsabit and say, oh, did you go to EACC? What did you report there? How would this person know? 500 kilometers from Marsabit. It's definitely somebody who is in that office leaking that information. Well, if you ask me today, it should be disbanded like yesterday, not today. Honorable Speaker, we are seeking solutions here. And this is what JZs want. That is what they're asking for. We stop our excesses. What is wrong if the president today says, ministers, why don't you sack them? Let them go home. There are other people, Kenyans, who can do the same job effectively and efficiently. Futa hawa kazi, sack them. The other day you heard about fertilizers. That man is still in office. Cooking oil. The CS is still in office. And the president is aware. And the CEO of Kenya National Trading Corporation said, why do you ask me these questions? My seniors are the people who sent those to my office. Who are these seniors? The president should sack all the ministers, employ fresh ones, and we move forward. On the borrowings, Honorable Speaker, if you look at President Moi's budget in 2007 was 2.18 billion shillings. The expenditure was 324 billion. Similarly, President in 2012, the budget was at 1.52 trillion. And today, our budget is at 3.9 trillion shillings. Honorable Speaker, we have a problem. Our problem are not taxes that is being paid. Our problem is we live beyond our means. We have thieves as ministers. We have thieves as PSS. We have thieves as MPs. We have thieves as senators. Honorable Speaker, let's not spare this house also. We have a problem. We must start from this house. We must start from this house. Everybody knows how much we are earning. Even in this house, there are people who live extravagantly in this house, and we know who they are. Honorable Speaker, there are issues about counties. There are devolved functions that have not been transferred up to today. Why do we need regional offices, regional bodies doing some work that's supposed to be done by the counties? Do you know the reason? Because of corruption. Yes, that is what is happening. You create regional offices, and then yet, constitutionally, those issues are supposed to be in the counties. They are devolved. Why do you keep the money here? I want to ask our president, if he really loves this country, let him follow our constitution. Let him send counties. Even CDF money should go to the counties. This is not MP's business. It should go to the counties, managed by the counties. We have regional offices, even in Marsabit. We have regional offices in Isiolo. We have one operating from Garissa. So many offices. These are conduits of theft. Honorable Speaker, and I really appreciate what our majority leader has done today. He has opened the free space for us to talk. And you remember, our Deputy President said, there are some people who have eaten so much, they start vomiting on us. That is very true. Very, very true. I want to urge our President, this is the right time, the right opportunity for you. Don't wait for these young boys and girls to come and talk to you. I've asked for, please start by, first of all, sacking all the ministers. Futayote, PSS, regional offices, take it back to the counties. And the president should support the county government. And Honorable Speaker, the county government also should stop its excesses. What I would urge this House to do is to visit counties so that we the employment programs and the development programs. And then we come up with a law that will curtail theft in those counties. About 2 months ago, Honorable Speaker, governor for Marsabit, was brought before EACC. And 2 months since then, they are bragging around Nairobi area saying, kwani EACC ko, what can be done to us? There is nothing that can be done. Oh, we are dying. We sit in his helicopter, we take photos with him. Who will touch us? I want to ask the president, please, don't dine, don't sit with thieves. Fukuzawa, chase them away. When you are seen with the president, you think like now there is no case against you. There is a case against you. And I want to urge ODPP also to, in fact, it should be disbanded. There's nothing they are doing. Like I think Honorable Khalwale has said, they select who to prosecute, who to take to court, and who not to take to court, depending on which party you come from or where you come from. And that's very serious, Honorable Speaker. I want to today thank God, Jesus, for creating this space for us to talk what we want. Honorable Speaker, there is the issue of cooking oil, imported cooking oil. It is in almost 50 godowns today, expiring, and the government has lost over 17 billion shillings. And those people are still in the office because they are politically correct. I want to urge the president, please, even if somebody is politically correct, you are trying to help a certain region, please stop doing that. Do your work, sack all of them. Because, Honorable Speaker, I want to ask our majority leader and minority leader to think about what we are going to do in order to handle issues in the county governments. Because the problem starts with the counties. Every Gen Z comes from a county. Honorable Speaker, if you go to a county, your county today, you will find foreigners, people from I don't know where, work in those counties. If these JZs are allowed to work in their counties, do you think we have this kind of a problem? No, we don't have. But they cannot work. Only the family, close relatives, given those contracts. And don't you think the president is not aware? He's aware. We normally send him texts telling him this and this is happening in our counties. So he should take charge. The monies that are going to the counties are the monies that are from taxpayers' money. They are not, that doesn't belong to the counties. No, it doesn't belong to the governor. The governor sits in Nairobi and then controls monies in either Wajir, Marsabit, Isiolo, Samburu. Why is this happening? What business do you have in Nairobi? It's because you just went there as a governor to steal, but not to work for. Finally, Honorable Speaker, what I want to see from the president, the governors who has cases, who are now being questioned, he should ask them to step aside. And thorough investigation should be started. Honorable Speaker, this House, Senate House, our business mainly is county business. And it is constitutionally mandated to look into any business that are being handled in the counties. Are we doing that? No. Not the way we are supposed to do. I will ask these distinguished senators, take time. Let's sit and have a discussion on how to tackle the most problematic counties, starting from the bottom, going up. We can have committees, special committees. Send one to Marsabit, send the other one to Kakamega, send another one to Isiolo, another one to Mandera. Then you will solve these problems. Even Machakos. So, Honorable Speaker, under Article 75, conduct of a state officer. It says a state officer shall behave whether in public and official life, in private life, or in association with any person, in a manner that avoids gifts. We have a judge there. Donations. And today, Honorable Speaker, what I would request us to do, there is an organizations which are like, let's say, for example, Kena, Kera, Kura. If you go there today, those director generals are supposed to be asked to step aside so that lifestyle audit can be instituted. Honorable Speaker, if you go to any office today, either government or you will be told, if you want to ask for contracts or employment for your people, you will be told, sorry, we don't have. Because it has started from somewhere in the State House. There are some brokers working in State House that normally go to places and say, we need employment for our people. And the president said, employ 500. And it's not true. KRA were before us. They employed 56% of one community. And do you think the president is aware? No. Even some CEOs working in institutions are worried. They are being forced to do things that they are not supposed to do. And well, this one has been sent by so-and-so, you must do this, you must buy this, you must sell this. They have a problem. And the only person who can solve this problem is for the president to do a memo to all CEOs and director generals to tell them, listen, don't listen to anybody who uses my name. He must have a memo and publicized. We need to see that memo also, that the president has 1 minute only, please. 1 minute. I want to finalize. I want to conclude.
We're running out of time. 1 minute.
So, if we have that kind of a memo, I'm sure these thieves will stop stealing from our people. Honorable Speaker, in conclusion, I want to thank the members here. Last week, Wednesday, we almost went on adjournment. And I want to thank the 19 senators who said we should not go, including myself. And today, our majority leader has seen the fruit of us saying no. And I want to thank both the leader of majority and minority for bringing this issue today before the public, before the people of Kenya, and before the Senate. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Beatrice Ogola.
Thank you,